It was exactly 11:47 p.m. when every screen in my apartment suddenly turned red. My television interrupted the movie I was watching, my laptop shut itself down, my phone vibrated violently, and even the smart display in my kitchen lit up with the same warning. A loud emergency alarm echoed through the apartment before white text appeared across every screen. Emergency broadcast system. Living in Denver, Colorado, I assumed it was another severe weather alert. I reached for the remote, expecting to see a tornado warning. Instead, a single line appeared that made my blood run cold. Do not trust subject. 18427. Beneath the warning was my driver's license photo. My full name, Nathan Carter, my date of birth, home address, height, weight, and even my license number were displayed for the entire country to see. I blinked several times, convinced someone had hacked the emergency broadcast system. It had to be a joke. There was no way the government would interrupt every screen in America just to display my face. The screen changed to a live broadcast. A woman wearing a dark military uniform stood behind a plain gray podium inside an unknown government facility. There were no station logos, no flags, and no indication of where she was speaking from. She stared directly into the camera with an emotionless expression. "If you are watching this broadcast," she said calmly, "remain inside your homes. If subject 18427 attempts to contact you, do not make eye contact." My legs nearly gave out beneath me. She continued reading from a thick black folder. Subject 18427 appears completely human. It possesses memories identical to the original individual. It believes it is Nathan Carter. It is not. I laughed nervously, waiting for hidden cameras to appear, or someone to admit this was an elaborate prank. Instead, my phone exploded with messages. Friends were texting non-stop. "Nathan, what did you do? The news is talking about you. Are you okay?" Then my younger sister Emily called. I answered immediately. "Emily, calm down. This has to be fake." She didn't respond for several seconds. When she finally spoke, her voice was trembling. "Nathan, you don't sound like my brother." Before I could answer, she whispered, "Whatever you are, don't come looking for me." The call disconnected. I tried calling back, but every attempt went straight to voicemail. She had blocked my number. Sirens echoed through the streets outside. Curious, I walked to the window. Dozens of police cars surrounded my apartment complex. Across the street, hundreds of people had gathered behind barricades, silently staring toward my building. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. A small boy suddenly pointed directly at my window. His mother immediately pulled his arm down and screamed, "Don't point at it. It recognizes people who look at it." Every person outside slowly stepped backward. The emergency broadcast resumed. The military woman looked more serious than before. "If subject 18427 realizes it has been identified, it may attempt to escape. It is capable of copying human behavior with perfect accuracy. Do not engage in conversation. Do not allow it inside your home under any circumstances." Then she slowly lifted her eyes toward the camera and whispered, "No matter what it tells you, it was never human." Every light inside my apartment suddenly shut off. Complete darkness swallowed the room. Only the television remained illuminated. The military officer disappeared, replaced by security camera footage labeled "Live." Confused, I watched myself standing in my living room exactly where I was. I didn't own security cameras. Then someone silently walked into the frame behind me. My breathing stopped. The person had my face, my clothes, and even the scar above my eyebrow. The duplicate leaned close to my ear in the video and whispered something I couldn't hear. Then both versions of me slowly turned toward the camera at exactly the same time. At that exact moment, I felt warm breath against the back of my own neck. I spun around with a terrified scream. The room behind me was completely empty. My television flickered again. This time the duplicate was no longer beside me on the screen. It was standing in the hallway outside my apartment door. A timestamp showed the footage was happening right now. Then 3 slow knocks echoed through the apartment. Knock, knock, knock. I looked through the peephole. Standing outside was me. Same face, same terrified expression. But unlike me, the other Nathan was smiling. Before I could react, every phone in the apartment rang simultaneously. I answered my cell phone. My own voice spoke from the other end. "Don't open the door," it whispered. "You're the copy." The line went dead. I backed away from the entrance, unable to breathe. Suddenly, another emergency alert interrupted the television. Subject 18427 has begun psychological manipulation. Ignore all verbal communication. The apartment walls began vibrating. Helicopters circled overhead while powerful searchlights swept across my windows. Through the blinds, I saw soldiers surrounding the building. One officer shouted through a loudspeaker, "Nathan Carter, remain where you are. Do not attempt to flee." But before I could respond, someone inside my apartment answered for me. "I'm right here," my own voice called from the bedroom. I grabbed a kitchen knife and slowly walked toward the bedroom. The door creaked open by itself. Standing inside was my exact duplicate. It smiled peacefully, almost sympathetically. "You've had a good life," it said, "but it belongs to me now." Then it reached into its pocket and pulled out my childhood family photograph. Everyone in the picture had their arm around the duplicate. I wasn't anywhere in the image. I stumbled backward in horror. My memories suddenly became blurry. I couldn't remember my first day of school. I couldn't remember my father's face. Every memory felt artificial, like scenes from someone else's dream. The duplicate smiled wider. "Those memories were never yours," it whispered. "They were uploaded." My head pounded as flashes of unfamiliar laboratories, bright lights, and masked scientists filled my mind. The emergency broadcast returned one final time. The military officer looked straight into the camera, her expression colder than before. "Containment team has secured the original Nathan Carter," she announced. Relief flooded through me for one brief second, until she continued. "The entity inside apartment 407 is no longer human. Termination has been authorized." Every soldier outside raised their weapons toward my windows. I screamed that they had the wrong person, but none of them reacted. Then my television switched to a live camera feed outside my building. I watched in horror as another Nathan Carter calmly walked out of a military truck. He smiled, waved at the soldiers, and they saluted him. I backed away from the television, unable to breathe. The duplicate slowly looked into the camera as if he could see me. "You were never the original," he said softly. "You were the backup, created in case I failed." Suddenly, every screen in my apartment went black. My reflection appeared instead. At first, it copied my movements perfectly. Then, it stopped. I froze as my reflection smiled while I wasn't smiling. It leaned closer to the glass and whispered, "Don't worry." A loud explosion shook the building. The lights went out forever. The next morning, every news channel reported the same headline: "Subject 18427 successfully neutralized." They showed security footage of soldiers removing a body from apartment 407. But when the camera zoomed in, the dead man wasn't me. It was the version of me that had escaped with the soldiers. Then, the broadcast suddenly cut to static, and a new emergency alert appeared across every screen in America. "Warning, subject 18428 has been detected.